Alright guys, this is my MLP Q&A, and I got about 30 questions, yeah, 30 questions, oh my god. Yeah, so I figured I might as well do this Q&A now. As always guys, I want to give you guys a heads up that if I did not answer your question, that means that I probably missed it because YouTube was being a dick or marked it as spam, so I do apologize in advance if I didn't answer your question. That means YouTube is to blame, so again, deeply apologize for that in advance. Anyway, let's start things off with our Q&A with Nobody's Z. Nobody Z, who asks, first question is, what would the main six, Spike, and the princesses think of the Autobots from Transformers Prime? Me, I like the idea of Optimus Celestia pairing. I can't really see them as a pairing. Definitely I could see Optimus and Celestia hanging out. I think that'd be cool to see them, they're all about freedom and, defending the weak. That's something I could roll with Optimus and Celestia. Maybe not as a pairing per se, but I'd like to see them hang out. I'm not bashing your pairing, good sir. I'm not bashing at all. I just see it more as for me personally, it'd be more of like a cool friendship kind of thing. I don't know, it could work as a pairing now that I think about it, but for the rest of the Autobots, meaning the main six, I think that would be a lot of fun as well, having them kind of interact with one another, especially like seeing Ratchet and Twilight hanging out. That'd be hilarious. Or, oh, better yet, Pinkie Pie trying to make Ratchet laugh. That'd be hilarious. So your second question is, how would you write an MLP comic book arc, the MLP comic book 7th story arc from IDW's comic spanning from issues 17 to 20, where the Earth 2 story? Oh yeah, okay. It's for those who don't know, in the IDW comics, they recently wrapped up a story arc where the main six traveled into basically Earth 2 of Equestria. And they encountered a good King Sombra and an evil Luna and Celestia. And there was an evil main six, but they never showed up until the end. It was like a little fun parody thing. Then here, it was a very emotional story because it kind of showed that Celestia didn't really have any perfection to her. It really, she's imperfect because Celestia, I don't want to spoil a lot of it, but all of this was Celestia's fault from our universe. Well, I should say their universe. The Celestia from the MLP comic, from obviously the Earth 1. So basically it was Princess Celestia from our universe, even though Star Swirl told her not to do what she did, but she did it anyway. And it was more or less what happened and what was causing all the disruptions and whatnot were her fault. But you kind of see it from her point of view. I don't want to spoil a lot in that story arc. It's a really good story arc, and it just has a load. It hits you with a sniper rifle of feels at the end of the story arc. So yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone out there. But if I could write it, I would say that it would be the Earth 2 characters coming to their universe and trying to take over. I'd probably make them also kind of like the Injustice, the Crime Syndicate of America, and I wouldn't make it like Forever Evil per se. It'd be more along the lines of like maybe have because in their universe there are Discord and Chrysalis and every character that's more or less an asshole in their universe is reversed into good characters, and I have it like maybe the Chrysalis of their universe travels to their universe, travels through the mirror, because it is mirror travel, and tries to, get help from the main six to help them battle the reverse six in the other universe. So maybe something like that. Definitely take a lot of inspiration from the Earth 2, from Grant Morrison's Earth 2 story. So yeah, that's what I might do with what I would have done with it. But I did like the story regardless. And your final question is, what is your headcanon story for the origin of Princess Cadance? My headcanon was that in my stories, in anything I came up with Cadance, was that she is the princess of the Crystal Empire, but she was hidden away by her parents before Sombra took over. She was hidden away from Sombra's evil, knowing that she was the Crystal Princess and she could overthrow him. So her parents, while her father was battling Sombra, her mother took her away and hid her from Sombra's sight. And that was pretty much it. That was kind of my origin in a nutshell. I know a lot of people have kind of had that same story, but I do like it. I do like that headcanon of she was hidden away by her parents, who were killed by Sombra when he was taking over the kingdom. So that was I know a lot of people have that headcanon for their origin, but I do like it. It makes a lot of sense. So there you go. So thank those questions. Next question comes from Austin Stack. I do apologize if I've completely butchered your last name. And he asks, while I don't consider myself a brony, I'm interested to know this. If you had creative control over MLP, what direction would you take the show in? Good question. I like this, Austin. Now, what I would do with MLP if I was the showrunner, I think I would more or less at this point of the show, the main six have learned everything about friendship and whatnot. They've learned. I don't think you can teach them much more. They've matured as characters in themselves, and they've become kind of like superheroes. They've saved Equestria multiple times with their magic, with their united power, and they've kind of grown to the point where they can become masters of their own fates. And what I would do is not make them so much as make it more like action-based, because let's face it, more boys watch this show than girls. And if you read a lot of fanfic, it's very action-heavy, so what I would do is make it more... I would actually rename it from Friendship is Magic to My Little Pony Defenders of Equestria. Yeah, does that not sound badass? Defenders of Equestria? I would, more or less, what I would do is make them more like heroes. Because they are. They're pretty much... The main six are pretty much like the Equestria's Justice League. They're Equestria's Avengers. They go out and fight more or less any evil that would come around. And I would bring in a lot of different villains. And there are a few villain-centric questions, so I'll talk about those in a little bit. But they would go out and fight evil, and also train... And also, I wouldn't say train... But more or less pass on the lessons they've learned they were together, and have it passed on to other characters like the CMC, the Trixie, and a few others. Definitely, I would have Trixie as like I would definitely have Trixie more of a bigger role. I'd probably make her like Sherlock, like they're trying to do in what they're trying to do in the IDW comics. They're making her kind of like a pseudo Sherlock. So I'd make her like Sherlock and have Gilda as her Watson. And I would have the CMC in a little more roles. And yeah, that's what I would do. So thanks for that question, Austin. Sci-Fi Freak 398 asks, do you intend to see Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks when it comes out? I saw Equestria Girls, and I was just like, this is a thing. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was okay. If I don't, this is kind of like one of those things where if I don't see it, that's not going to affect me. That's not going to be a major detriment to me. But if I see it, I'll be like, oh, okay. So that's kind of the point I'm at with Rainbow Rocks. I was just that's how I felt with Equestria Girls in of itself. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for that question, Sci-Fi. Next questions come from the Omnitron12345, who asks, if you could design a Superman-like character for the Power Ponies universe, how would you do it? Well, I'd call him Super Cult. And I think what I would do, just to have, I would make him like the design like Superman, a pony version of Superman, like the DC universe for Superman. I would make it like I would design it just to have more obscure geek reference. I would design the costume to look like the Kingdom Come Superman costume, which I really like the Kingdom Come Superman costume. So I design it like that. So I would also keep all the powers. Definitely keep all the power. I would keep all of the. I don't know what you could do but yeah, definitely call him Super Cult and make his costume look like Kingdom Come Superman's. So yeah, I don't know what it could do power-wise though. Your second question is, if you could design an alicorn whose powers and role aren't exactly welcome or wanted, and be like in charge of death, war, etc. in Equestria, but is still needed, how would you do it? I think what I would do is have like an alicorn that is like... I did actually have an idea for an alicorn, but he was Celestia and Luna's half-brother, and he was kind of like the Hades of Equestria. He was like Equestria's Hades, and he ruled Tartarus. He was called Lord Astaroth. He wasn't really a villain, he was just kind of a prick, because no one ever acknowledges him. Not even his own sisters, half-sisters, acknowledge his presence, and he's kind of like the warden of Tartarus, and when something escapes, he's the one that the princesses usually blame, like, oh, it was on your watch, you should have watched them, and I actually wanted to write because I've tried writing MLP fanfiction, it's a lot harder than it looks. I know, that's weird, it's a weird thing to say, and I wanted to write a scene where Astaroth is talking to Fluttershy, thanking him for returning his faithful hound, that being Cerberus. So that's what I would do, is like, he's not really... He's the warden of Tartarus. He's the warden and ruler of Tartarus, and he lives in the city of Pandemonium, which most of you guys who know your demonology, that's the capital city of hell. But in here, Pandemonium would be the capital city of Tartarus, and and his personal home. So, yeah. Your final question is Omnitron's final question is Rainbow Dash versus Quicksilver. Rainbow Dash versus Quicksilver. Race around the world. Who wins? I don't know. Because here's the thing. Rainbow Dash has been clocked to go as fast to create a sonic rain boom, and the top speed for Quicksilver is 175 miles an hour, which can almost break the sound barrier. I think it actually can. I'm not good with... Physics was not a strong suit in school. You can obviously tell. So I really don't know. So I'm going to call it a draw. Maybe Barry Allen wins. There you go. That's a cop-out, but let's face it. Barry Allen. Power of the Speed Force, baby. Power of the Speed Force. So thank you for those questions, Omnitron. Next questions come from Wolfman the Impaler, who first question is, if they did a gender bet episode like Fiona and Cake episode from Adventure Time, who would you want to voice the main six? Okay, Samuel Vincent for... I want Samuel Vincent to voice one of them. Matt Hill, because he's the voice actor for Sauron. Matt Hill for Rainbow Dash. I don't know about everyone else. Oh, the English voice actor, I can't remember his name. The English voice actor for Sebastian from Black Butler to voice Rarity. There you go. I think Samuel Vincent would probably be... If I was to give it... I think, yeah, Samuel Vincent would be Twilight. I'd have male Twilight. I don't know about everyone else, but those are the three right there. Can't really think of anyone else. Sorry. So, your second question is, if you could assemble a team to protect Equestria without using any pony from the main six or the princesses, who would they be? Ooh, I like this question. Okay, if the princesses and the main six were out of commission, who would defend Equestria? Trixie, definitely Trixie. Trixie, grilled cheese. I want Weird Al back. I don't want to cop out and use the background ponies as much as I want to, but I like. I don't want to cop out because that would be too easy. I want to have a little challenge. So I got two. Gilda would be one. Zecora. There you go. That's four. Zecora, definitely. I want some more Zecora. Two more. Big Mac. There you go. Got a Big Mac and I don't know, photo finish. Why not photo finish? So there you go. There's the backup team to save Equestria. We're doomed. In the words of Stork from Stormhawks, we're doomed. So thank you for that question. Your final question is, which ships do you support or at least tolerate? For examples, Bulk Bicep, Fluttershy, Luna Mac, Cheese Sandwich, and Pinkie Pie. I actually, thanks to the IDW comics, I really like Lunamac. They have that 2-part story where it kind of references Lunamac. So I was like, okay, that's adorable. Lunamac is adorable. I like. I do like. There are a few others that I like. I like Twitrix, which is Trixie from Twilight. I do like. There are a few others. I'm just trying to think of them. That's just a few, because I'm going to be here mulling it over. Sorry. It's like almost 1 in the morning as I'm doing this Q&A, by the way. That's kind of why my voice is down. But yeah, those are a few I like. So thank you for those questions, Wolfman. Our next set of questions come from Grimlock1992, who asks, would you like to have more involvement with dragons, but delve... Oh, okay, let me read this again. Would you like to have more involvement with dragons, but delve into mythos about dragons and different types of dragons? I guess he means in the show. I think I would, because Spike, as we know, is an earth dragon. He's wingless. But I think I would delve more into the relationship between ponies and dragons, and how they the dragons are like the apex predators of Equestria and the world. But I really would like to go deeper into dragon society, and more different types, like maybe ice drakes and ice drakes and, maybe sea serpents. I don't know, that's just a few ideas. Second question is, if you can add a cult to the group, but not a love interest, like an old friend of Rainbow Dash from her Philly days, I think I would have a cult character in here, but more like a sensei-student relationship. I had a character in mind called Master Rising Sun, who was he came from the Far East. He was kind of like Rainbow. He was actually. It's funny you mentioned that, Grimlock. He was actually had ties to Rainbow Dash. He was Rainbow Dash's Mr. Miyagi, and because we do see that Rainbow Dash does know apparently kung fu, I guess. So it was Master Rising Sun who was her former sensei, and helped her, focus her mind and body. So maybe have him come back, train the other ponies another way. That'd be kind of cool. Not really old, but more like he'd be like their Zordon, or like I said, the Mr. Miyagi character. So there you go. Now, your third question is, if you could make any episode, what would it be about, and who will it be focused on? I would actually make an episode that wouldn't focus on the main six at all. What I would do is have an episode that would focus completely on Trixie or Zecora. Actually, no, I would actually put Trixie and Zecora together, like they get mixed up in some crazy scheme, and they end up trying to figure out how to work together. And what happens is that Trixie and Zecora are trying to work together, and they're trying to work together, and it keeps everything keeps blowing up in their faces. And I would also include the Diamond Dogs. So yeah. Think of those questions, Grimlock. Next set of questions come from Andre Partridge, who asks, if you have to create a more darker and more tragic villain for the main six off in the show, how would you go about creating a villain like that? More darker and tragic villain. I don't know. First off, let's get rid of the villain from the past kind of stuff, because that's getting old. Aside from Chrysalis, there hasn't really been a major villain that hasn't really been, all the other villains like Discord and Sombra and, Nightmare Moon, with the exception of Chrysalis, they've all been villains of the past. Chrysalis just showed up, so maybe a threat, like a present-day threat. I did have an idea for a villain called the Goblin King, who obviously is a goblin, and his whole thing was that his people were chased out, where they were the original settlers of Equestria, and when Equestria was, colonized by the Ponies, they got kicked out, and that was 1,000 years ago, and the goblins have never really forgiven the Ponies for kicking them out of their home. They were driven out, and they were forced to live in the mountains, hiding from dragons and other kind of mountain-type creatures. And they've had a really shit life. And the Goblin King is finally... This new Goblin King, who I named Rotwood, was kind of like, no, this is bullshit. We ain't having this no more. So it was kind of like him becoming like their brave... he's kind of like a reverse Braveheart, where he's kind of rising up against what he considers oppressors. And in some cases, like, the princess will be like, no, we got this land, this is our land. You got the mountains. And at first I would have it that Rotwood was trying to negotiate with the princesses, but negotiations broke down because goblins their names have been really thrown through the mud in Equestria. Like, they're savages. They steal fillies at night, and they eat ponies alive. They skin them and wear their skins as clothes, and that racism has kind of really damage their image. So conversations break down, and Rotwood is like, okay, you brought this on yourself. So he leads the goblins into an all-out rebellion again and tries to take back Equestria. And you kind of see it from his perspective in some ways. So that's what I would do. That's my villain right there. Your second question is, what do you think would happen if the main six encountered or discovered a new race of ponies in Equestria, like the Hippocrampus, and how would you react? And how do you think each of the main six would react to this? Hippocrampus, I'm guessing you're referring to hippogriffs, which are half pony, half griffin. I would think, here's the thing, I actually had ideas for hippogriffs in the universe. It's basically like they're taboo, like, they're not really well looked on by either griffins or equestrians. They're very looked down on because they're half-breeds. They're not welcome in any world. And I would have it that some of the main six are tolerant about it and they're very understanding, while some of them are just like, oh, it's a monster, it's an abomination, get that thing away from us. And I had an idea for a character named Misfit, who he was given that name. that wasn't the name he was born with. But Misfit was more or less a character whose father was a Griffin general and his mother was a Earth pony who was a medic, and their child was obviously Misfit. And he was not really liked when he came to Ponyville. The only person who kind of took him in, even Twilight was kind of like, you're not right, you're not. The only person who was nice to him was the CMC. The CMC were the only people that were nice to him. So yeah. Thank you for that question, Andre. Your third question is, if you have to create a new member of the main six for the show, what will her name, role, and power, personality, and backstory be, and how will she interact with the rest of the main six? I got nothing right off the bat, I'm sorry. Maybe make her the element of love? I don't know. I guess... Maybe give her rarities. A rarity was supposed to be originally the element of imagination. So maybe this new character would be like another unicorn to fill in Twilight's role, but her abilities are more or less like she can use her powers like a Green Lantern ring. I guess I don't know what I'd call her really. So yeah, thank you for that question, Andre. Moving on up to Action Fan 19, and he says, and his first question is, would you enjoy another Power Ponies episode if this time the main six met the group instead of turning into them? I think that'd be really cool. I think since it's obviously a magical universe, I think that would be really cool. Have them come together, and also like maybe have a Rorschach pony. Just saying. I don't know why I want a Rorschach pony out of everything else. I really don't. But I think that would be cool. Definitely cool. So your second question is, what do you think it would be like if dinosaurs were introduced in the show? You see, that's kind of difficult because with dinosaurs, they're prehistoric, and they've said that they haven't really made a mention to anything prehistoric. So, I don't know, maybe dinosaurs would be cool, but it would just be kind of out of the element. I don't know why I'm saying dinosaurs would be out of an element with talking ponies. It just doesn't, I don't know. Sorry to not fully answer that question, Action Fan. Your third and final question is, what would you be through the roof excited for Grogar to appear in Season 5? Absolutely. I think he's a villain that they've been kind of building up to, and he's probably one of the coolest things to come out of the past generations. I can't remember what generation he came from, but I think he would be a very awesome villain. And I know someone else asked me a question similar to Grogar someone did ask me a question about Grogar, but it could be different, so I don't know anyway, I'm rambling now. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I would be excited for Grogar in season 5. Absolutely. So thank you for those question, Action Fan. Next set of questions come from Carlotta Studios. And her first question is, name your top 5 or 3 crossovers of MLP. Top 5 favorite crossovers. Like what I'd want to see or ones I've seen. I'd like to Sailor Moon, Transformers, Team Fortress, that's 3 right there. I want to do 2 more. Witch and Ninja Turtles. There you go. Let's think of that question. Your second question, Carlotta Studios asks, your second question is, do you have an original character or original villains for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? If so, tell us about them. Well, I've talked about a few original characters already in the Q&A, like the Goblin King and Master Rising Sun and Misfit. A few other characters that I had were... There were a few other, original characters here and there. Nothing special, nothing important about them, really. I think I've named the biggest ones already. So I think I've already answered that question already, if you think about it. But there was another villain who I had, called Prince Umbra. Prince Umbra was Sombra's son. And he was this very cunning, very devious, kind of almost like a Starscream type character. And he was downright evil. I'm pretty sure, let me say this out front, I'm pretty sure that Prince Umbra, or Lord Umbra, or whatever, the character of Umbra and his ties to Sombra is probably an OC that's probably fucking everywhere. But he was a character that I thought was really cool after Sombra. So, and again, I don't really go deep into MLP OCs because they're everywhere. So, for all I know, Umbra is already an OC character out there somewhere. More than likely, yes. So, but yeah, there you go. Carlotta, and your third question is, you knew I was going to ask this. What do you think of a Stormhawks MLP crossover in which the Stormhawks discover a crystal that transports them to Equestria and turns them all into ponies? Arrow would be a Pegasus, Piper would be a unicorn, everyone else would also be ponies, including Radar, but he'd be a tiny pony. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be actually really cool. I think it would be a lot of fun to see Arrow as a Pegasi and see him actually flying. And also, you would have to, in this crossover, you would have to have Finn meet Soren. I'd have him just talking and be like, "Hey man, I think I've heard, have we met before?" "No, I don't think so, dude." "Yeah, you're probably right. You see what I did there? Because Soren and Finn are voiced by the same, whatever." And I'd also have, Piper meeting Daring Do, because they're voiced by the same voice actress, and same with Samuel Vincent and Flim and Flam. Is it Flim or Flam? I can't tell them apart. Screw it. But, yeah. Definitely have those meetings. So thank you for the question, Carlotta Studios. Next question comes from Jake Bat. What would a David Fincher MLP look like? Dark, depressing, and probably scary. In a nutshell, Jake, there you go. Next question comes from the Spawn117, who asks, What would happen if the Chaos Space Marines suddenly got transported to MLP universe? God help them all. Well, let's face it, the Chaos Space Marines are these unholy monsters. They're going to destroy everything in their path. Let's not stand on ceremony here, people. So there's the quick answer right there. Spawn 117. Thank you for that question. Next set of questions come from Burnouter7, who asks, how would you write an MLP story where the main six would meet some humans, and how would you write their personalities? You see, there's about 1,000 human and Equestria stories, and those are my least favorite stories. Human and Equestria stories. They're, I don't know. I just never really had a like for them. I mean, I know there are good ones out there. Don't get me wrong, I know there are really good ones out there, but I've never been like a fan of them because there's so many. There are so many. Kind of like with Randy Cunningham fanfictions, I've kind of gotten and Code Lyoko fanfictions are like this too, where they have an OC character that shows up and has ties to all of them. It's kind of why with Randy Cunningham and Code Lyoko fanfiction, I kind of stay away from them, because seriously, no, you look on the if you go to fanfiction.net right now and you look at the list of fanfiction for Code Lyoko and Randy Cunningham fanfictions, they will no doubt have OC characters that have kind of the same backstory through all of them. It's the same way with MLP, where you more than likely see a lot of human and Equestria stories. So, yeah. So I don't know what human characters you could have exactly. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask that question. So, sorry, Burnouter. Let's see what your second question is. What would happen if the Hulk and A-Bomb ended up in Equestria? Hulk like pretty ponies. Oh, it'd be so cute, Hulk and Fluttershy hanging out. That'd be so much fun. And A-Bomb would have a lot of fun with maybe Rainbow Dash. Probably hanging out with Rainbow Dash the most. And your third question is, what would happen if the main six ended up in the Fairy Tale Guild? Hilarity ensues, my friend. Hilarity ensues. Like, I could see Spike hanging out with, what's his name? That little blue cat with the wings. I can't remember his name. That little punk. Natsu and Rainbow Dash getting into an argument. Lucy and Twilight exchanging spells. Just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That's what hilarity ensues, like I said, with that. But thank you for that question, Burnouter. Next question comes from Taj Harrison, who asks, what kind of pony would you be? What kind of pony would I be? Unicorn. Definitely unicorn. So thank you for that question, Taj. Next question comes from Jacob Bernard, who asks, I'm sure I'll come off like an asshole when I say this, but I don't understand the Brony thing. Could you please please explain it to me? You see, Jacob, I can understand the whole Brony thing and why it's kind of weird. Here's the weird thing, though. I can't fully explain it either. I really don't understand how a show for girls got so popular. And I know there is great writing, there's great storytelling, and obviously I'm a fan of it. I wouldn't be a fan of it if it didn't have great storytelling and good and fun stuff in there. But I don't understand, out of all the shows out there, when you have shows like, Adventure Time has this too. You have you have a lot of, like, entire cons all over the world devoted to this show, and fans that are devoted to this show. And songs. People will create songs out of this. They're really these really badass self-made songs and fan fiction, and all of this around this one show. And there is a lot of love to it. I mean, obviously there's the darker side too, with certain elements of the fandom, which I will not really talk about. But regardless, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of charities for the Brony community. On a whole, a lot of the Brony community does like charities for the homeless and for cancer patients. A lot of amazing stuff, and it is strange. It is strange in some aspects, but it also is it's a very loving group. But I really don't know. I really don't know how this got big. Where you had obviously, like I said, Adventure Time is really big, but it never had cons to itself, did it? It never really had this kind of Adventure Time has a big fandom. MLP, on the other hand, has entire songs and cons dedicated to that. So that's something right there. But, yeah, it's just kind of... So, Jacob, to answer your question, it's something you have to see for yourself. I don't think I can explain it in this Q&A alone. I'm really sorry, but I can't. It's something you'll have to explore for yourself and see what you think. I'm not going to say, tell you, oh, you have to watch this show or you're not human. I'm not saying that at all. Not at all. It's something you have to experience and see for yourself if you like it. So thank you. It's one of those kind of experience for yourself kind of things and judge for yourself because it is something to at least see. I'll say that much. But anyway, thank you for that question, Jacob. Next question comes from Atomizer, who asks, who is best pony? Who is best pony? Zokora is best pony. Well, best zebra. But best pony? Every pony is best pony. Because I can't pick. I really can't. I know that's a cop-out question, I know, but I can't... Don't make me, in the words of Homer, don't make me choose. Second question. Who would the main six team up or hang around with in the Marvel or DC universe? I'd like to see the MLP hang out with the Avengers. Maybe Rainbow Dash and Hawkeye teaming up. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. The MLP and the Avengers. Or maybe the Teen Titans, I don't know. So your final question is G.I. Joes versus Ponies versus Transformers. Who would be the victor? Don't, you say this is a joke, Atomizer, but IDW could be watching this video right now and be like, men, we have a new crossover idea. And it's scary too because I'm pretty sure they're thinking about doing this because they have the rights to the comic book rights to all three of those Hasbro titles. So and Hasbro's been like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want, as long as it gets us money. So I would not be surprised if sometime this year or the next we get MLP, G.I. Joe, and Transformers all in like a mini-series, kind of like what they're doing in Cartoon Network with the whole Super Secret Crisis War comic book going on. So I would not be surprised in the least if we somehow get that along the somewhere down the line in the future. But yeah, who would be the victor? But yeah, I mean, I can see it now. It would probably be called, I don't know what you would even call it. Probably, because they're doing the ongoing of G.I. Joe versus Transformers. Why not throw Ponies in and have a crossover? Now, maybe not as an ongoing, but maybe like a six-part mini-series and make it like a fun pseudo-event like what they're doing with the Cartoon Network characters in Super Secret Crisis War. That'd be a lot of fun. So thank you for those questions, Atomizer. Next comes Sharingan 1230. 1230. First question is: will you make a top 25 favorite characters in the future future videos? Probably not top 25 characters for MLP, because maybe 10, maybe top 10 character, maybe top 10. That's a possibility. 25, I don't know if I have enough. If I have enough power to do a top 25. So I'll say that as a solid maybe, shot and gun. Second question is, do you read fanfiction? Do you read MLP fanfictions? Yes, I do. I do read fanfictions. Not a lot, because I'm usually writing other stuff for my Marvel and DC fanfictions that I'm working on. Well, working with. And I'm doing my other projects for other shows. So when I do read them, they're usually, some of them good, some of them bad. Sorry, I just totally spaced there, my apologies. Your third question is, have you ever checked out Hot Diggity Demon's Pony.mov videos? Yeah, I have, they're actually really funny. Kill, crush, destroy, swag. Kill, crush, destroy, swag. That's the Brony. I like to call that the Brony war chant. So, yeah. Thank you for those questions, Shot and Gun. Oh, nobody dies at... His question was, sorry, I meant to say, how would you rewrite the MLP 7th story arc? Oh, I think I pretty much answered that question, so yeah. Next question comes from BooRat1, who asks, only one question. What voice actor, actress would you like to see here on an episode in the future? LeVar Burton, Marina Sirtis, definitely is a villain character for Marina Sirtis. LeVar Burton, Neil Patrick Harris, Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, just a few, those few. Okay, one more, and what type of character would you want to see them do? Oh, that's a lot. There's a lot. I did do a video in the past talking about that somewhere with those characters. So, yeah. Thank you for that question, BooRat1. Serpentalata asks, hi, dude. Glad you're about to make another Q&A. Here are my questions. Do you like one fanfiction in particular? There is actually a really good one that I really like. It's a really good crossover fanfiction called The Nightmare After Nightmare Night, which is a MLP Nightmare Before Christmas crossover, and it's this fun little crossover, basically talking about where Rarity was during Nightmare Night, where she made her costume and she accidentally ended up in Pony. She was trying to get out stuff to build her new costume. She ended up in Halloween Town, and the rest of the girls go out and try to save her, while Spike, Luna, and Zecora are trying to keep peace in Ponyville while they're in Halloween Town. It's actually a lot of fun. There's no gore and blood. It feels like a natural crossover to me, and it's a lot of fun. They really take up a lot. The writer gets a lot of kudos. It's short, sweet, and to the point, and yeah. There's one. Second question is, who is your favorite villain, and why is he or she your fave? Favorite villain? Tyrek was a lot of fun. Tyrek was a very imposing villain, also very cool action scenes. So Tyrek, liked Sombra. I know a lot of people didn't like Sombra, but I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with Sombra that hasn't been looked at. I would also say Chrysalis was also... A lot of the all the MLP villains are fun. Again, cop-out, I'm sorry. Favorite race in all Equestria? Favorite favorite of 3 species. Unicorns, I guess. Magic. There you go. Save that question, Serpentalata. Next comes XB Pastrana? XB... Yeah, I really hope I'm not... I really do apologize if I completely butchered your name, XB. I really do apologize if I completely just butchered that. Totally. But XB asks, first question is, who's your fave background pony? Dr. Hooves. If you know me, if you know my love for Doctor Who, then you know Dr. Hooves, obviously. Also loved in Easy Being Breezy, the whole 3D glasses. Saw what you did there. Second question is, what do you think of John Delancey as a regular character on MLB? I really like it, and from what I understand, he really likes it too. It's nice to see that he's really grown into the MLP he's really grown into the MLP community, and it's nice to see him have a regular voice cast. I think he's a really cool person, and I think it's cool to have he has his own character, and his character has a lot of potential to grow more. I mean, obviously he's redeemed now, but it would be nice to see him grow further. I mean, he had some growing in here, but I really want to see his further growth in the show is what I mean. Third question is, are you surprised or just sometimes watch any... Do you subscribe or just sometimes watch any Brony reviews? If so, who? Do I watch MLP reviews? The two I really like to watch the most are Digibrony and Digibrony sometimes, but I Like Kim Possible a lot is a lot of fun. KP's reviews are a lot of fun, and it's just fun to watch her rant and rave over certain things. I do watch a few other MLP reviews. There's so many. There is so many that it's hard to pick and choose. But I Like Kim Possible a lot. Her reviews are a lot of fun. So I think those questions eat XB, and I do apologize if I completely butchered your YouTube name. I completely apologize. Next question comes from Mr. Goodplot, who asks, what would be the cutie mark for each Milky Juice member? For those who don't know what Mr. Goodplot is talking about, I'm on another channel with Shades at Night, Coolio Vids 101, Duke Loops 1993, Pop Culture Diva 42, and Tori GNR1, and we have this YouTube channel called Milky Juice, which is us being stupid together. And yeah, so what would be our cutie marks if we were ponies? I think for Coolio, his would be a Green Lantern emblem. Shades would be a film strip, because he's into acting and obviously fan edits. Tori GNR1 would be a Spider-Man symbol. Duke's would be a TARDIS. Deanna's would be... What would be Deanna's? What would be Pop Culture Divas? I don't know. Maybe the Romanian flag. I got nothing. And for me... I'm trying to think what would be mine. I got nothing. I really have nothing. Maybe actually the Decepticon symbol for my cutie mark, for my love for Transformers. So Decepticon symbol for me. Thank you for that question, Mr. Goodplot. The second question is, which of the main six would you tragically kill off? Wow. Which would I tragically kill off? None? Can I choose none? Maybe if someone said you have to kill one of the main six off, but they have to die heroically, which would it be? I think who would be Twilight, and I say this because Twilight's would be the main one. She's grown the most, and she's become one of the most powerful. So seeing her die for her friends would be the ultimate show. If she's willing to sacrifice herself for her friends, that's the ultimate form of friendship, willing to die for others before you. And that would I think that would really bind the main six, or main five after this, really closer together. That's just me. That's the quick version, more or less. I'd go further into detail, but I think it would just make it worse. But again, I really would not kill off any of them at main six. That's what I'm trying to say. Can I choose six? Can I choose none? Can I choose not kill anyone? So thank you for that question. Your third one is, how should the series end? I don't know, because here's the thing, the show is going to end. It's going to be weird, too, when MLP finally ends. That's going to be a weird day for all of us. It's going to be a sad day for all of us. Why am I saying weird? But how would the show end? I really don't know. Maybe Twilight becoming the ruler of Equestria after Celestia and Luna? Maybe just show in the future, like it's a future episode, and Twilight's the new ruler of Equestria, and the main six are grown up, they have their cutie marks, and I don't know. I really don't know how the show would end. I really don't. So, thank you for those questions, Mr. Goodplot. And I'm sorry I completely, screwed up on those questions. I do apologize for that. Next question comes from James Ginty, who asks, did you notice Soren's cutie mark is shown different in Rainbow Falls than A Canterlot Wedding Part 2? No, I didn't. I really didn't notice until you said something. I guess since he's not a big character, the animators are like, fuck it. I guess that was the general consensus. So, yeah. I didn't notice till you told me, James. James Ginty, so thank you for that question. Next question comes from More Crossovers, who asks, first question is, what would be your ideal version of Season 5? I kind of talked about this earlier, making it more like Heroes. Rename it, Season 5 would be called Defenders of Equestria. Hey, if Ben 10 can have all these different shows that have the same continuity but different names, then so can MLP. So, Season 5 would be renamed from Friendship is Magic to Defenders of Equestria. There you go. What got you into MLP? It was curiosity, really. Like I was there when MLP was starting to grow, and I was really curious. Like, what is the fascination with MLP? And I got into it really quick with a few episodes. I can't even remember what episodes they were. It was definitely season 1 episodes. Again, I was there when the My Little Pony fandom was starting to really branch out, and I was hit with it. And can't even remember what episode I watched, really. I think it was Party of One. Yeah, I think it was Party of One, now that I think about it. And that's what kind of got me interested. So, think of that question. Third question is, what would you say to an Ultraman MLP crossover? That'd be a lot of fun. Could you imagine, like, Ultraman fighting a dragon? Well, he's kind of fought dragons. The kaiju he fights were kind of dragon-like. So, it'd be fun, that's all I can say. Again, I'm sorry when people ask me these crossover questions on these Q&A, I really, like, again, with most crossovers, you have to sit and think how this would work, and my brain needs to just sit and think on how exactly these kind of, questions, these kind of crossovers would work. So, but I think it would be cool nonetheless. But how it would happen, I don't know at this moment. But thank you for those questions. More crossovers. Next comes Grod Hanks, who asks, what is the best MLP fanfic you've read? Nightmare After Nightmare After Nightmare Night. Tongue-tied. Long title, though. The Nightmare After Nightmare Night was a fun crossover and fun MLP story, too, because it kept all the characters from MLP and Nightmare Before Christmas in character. And you hardly see that in a lot of fanfic, let alone crossovers. So that was a lot of fun. What is the worst MLP fanfic you've read? See, I don't read a lot of MLP fanfic because there's so much of it in so many different ways. I've never really read a really bad one before. I've never really read a bad one, but I know there are some really bad stinkers out there. So I try to stay away from the worst. And your third question is, what kind of mythical, fictional monster and features would you like to see in the Everfree Forest? They've kind of covered all the Everfree, mythical monsters I'd like to see in the Everfree Forest. Maybe orcs. Orcs would be cool. Orcs, nymphs, sprites, fairies, goblins, trolls. I know they had a cave troll in the comics. So those are just a few. Those are just a few right there. So thanks for those questions, Grod Hanks. Next question comes from Jerkwater100, who asks, in your own opinion, what is the most underrated MLP voice actor actress? I don't think there is a underrated one, because all the voice actor and actresses are very well loved. I don't really see an underrated one. There's not really an underrated one. For the most part, there really isn't. I don't think any of them are underrated at all. Every voice actor and actress are treated very well by the fandom, and a lot of them are kind of wanted back. So, I don't think any of them are underrated. Personally, in my own opinion, I don't think any of them are underrated. Next question is, did you hear of the Peter Parker Twilight Sparkle shipping, and what are your thoughts? I mean, I don't bash people's ships. Let me say this right now. I do not bash people's shipping. But me personally, again, it's kind of like the Celestia and Optimus pairing. I see them more as friends. Like, I could see Twilight and Spider-Man, not really more like science buddies. They'd be like hanging out and Peter teaching instead of magic to Twilight. He's teaching her how to use science, and that would be a lot of fun to see them. I just see them hang out, try to book studies and stuff, and just be total bookworms with one another. That would be a lot of fun. Again, I'm not trying to bash the pairing. It's just that I see them more like friends because Peter has Mary Jane. Despite One More Day, I still like Peter with Mary Jane. That's just me, though. If anyone out there likes this pairing, totally fine. No ill will against you. More power to you. Me personally, I'm sticking with him and Mary Jane. Screw you. Fuck you, Quesada. Third question, the final question is, what message, life lesson do you like to see on the show? I'd like to see them tackle racism. I know they kind of pseudo-tackled it with the Zecora episode in a weird way, and they've timed it, but I'd like to see it done with, like, maybe, like, a griffin comes to town, and there are some ponies that are just like, griffins, they're a bunch of freaks. And kind of, I wouldn't say, like, definitely, like, try to tackle, like, racism, and also tackle, I'd like to see them try to tackle it, definitely that, something along that line. I don't know, that's just me, though. So thanks for that question, Jerkwater. Next question comes from Travis Rendon, who asks, do you think Spike will grow in later seasons of MLP? I'd like to see him grow more. I know we saw in, it's treasure that makes him grow, and it makes him more greedier, but does he grow naturally? That's a big question. Does he grow naturally in the universe? It's kind of a big question, and I think it'd be cool to see him grown up more. Like, I think it would be cool to see him grown up more, and maybe when the main six are not there to defend Ponyville, Spike, as like an older dragon, is there to be like the kind of the guard there, and giant dragon Spike fighting giant monsters would be a lot of fun. I need more dragon stuff, seriously. And it also makes Spike a lot more interesting, because I'm sorry guys, let's face it, a lot of Spike episodes are not that great. Look, that's a general consensus across the board. I mean, Power Ponies was fun, but it was a Spike episode. Spike has his moments here and there, but I would like to see, like, Spike get some character growth. There was one story I was writing that had Sombra as the main... I did actually not write, excuse me, let me back that up. I didn't write this, but I had an idea mulling over in my head of Sombra coming back, and he's basically in his, like, an astral body, and he corrupts Spike and makes him, like, into an older dragon, and he kind of makes him into his second in command. He makes Spike into, like, his Starscream, and Spike betrays the main six and has the teenage dragons we saw, along with a new addition called Coldfire, female ice dragon, and they become his dragon clan. And he was evil. But getting back to this, yes, I think it would be cool to see him grown up more. Thank you for that question, Travis. Second question is, do you think the episode Dragon Quest would have worked better if instead of the teenage dragon, Spike meets an older dragon who turns out to be his mother and learned about his past and more questions and questions should he go back to Ponyville? I think that would have... What Travis is basically saying, like, instead of Spike meeting a bunch of jerk-ass teenage dragons, he instead meets his mother, or his father, or a parental member, or an older, wiser dragon. I think that would really work better, because then that would really bring up the question of, should I, go back to Ponyville, or stay with my own kind and stay with my actual parents? Stay with my actual mother, or my father, or whatever. I think that would be a lot more, it'd be more of a, like, very hit you home, like, home is where the heart is kind of story. I think that would work a lot better than having a bunch of punk-ass dragons and make Spike go, nope, I'm staying with ponies. No really moral dilemma here. Kind of lost the moral dilemma thing kind of there, and I think it would have worked better if it was like a father figure or his actual mother. And because then you'd have the whole drama of, why did you give me up as an egg, or what happened, more or less. Stuff like that would probably work out better. I think that would have worked. I think it would be a lot better. So thank you for that question, Travis. Third question is, if you were a pony or unicorn, or any other creature, which one of the main six would you date? If not them, what other character? Okay, I'm not really a person who does the whole, if I could date an animated character. I'm not really into that, but in regards to this question, if I was a pony in the show, I wouldn't really date one of the main six. I think I'd go for Zecora. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'd go for Zecora. Trixie would be sloppy seconds. I'm going to move on from this question now. Travis, so think of those questions, Travis. Next question comes from Darth Venom, who asks, first question is, what would happen if the Avengers and or the Guardians of the Galaxy ended up in Equestria? I think that'd be a lot of fun of seeing like Hawkeye and Rainbow Dash hang out and Rarity trying to dress up Tony. That would be a lot of fun to watch. I think that'd be hilarious to watch Rarity run around and try to make her own armor for Tony. Excuse me. Yeah, that would, and Fluttershy hugging the Hulk, that'd be a lot of fun. If it was the Guardians of the Galaxy, the only image coming up in my head is Fluttershy swooning, being like, oh, look at the little raccoon, and Rocket being like, hey, don't ever call me a raccoon, you punce. He has a British accent in the comics, so, yeah. Well, British tone. So, thank you for that question. Second question. So, your second question is your MLP Littlest Pet Shop crossover. What are your thoughts? That would be cool. It'd be kind of hard to see it happen because they're two different universes. Maybe Twilight punches a hole into the universe, the Littlest Pet Shop universe. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't watch a lot of Littlest Pet Shop. I don't hate it. I mean, I've watched an episode or two and be like, this is enjoyable. It's not something I watch on a daily basis, mind you, but it's something like I can see I can see the fandom behind Littlest Pet Shop. I mean, I don't watch it. I've watched about maybe 2 or 3 episodes and be like, it's enjoyable, but not my cup of tea. If you like it, that's totally fine. It's just not my personal cup of tea. But I think it would be cool to see a crossover regardless. The third question is, do you think MLP is overexposed? I don't know, that's a tough one, because it depends on who you ask. I think that's the better question. Is MLP overexposed? I really am not the best person to ask that question, because I don't think it's overexposed, but it's a very huge fandom, and a lot of people do reference it a lot in other places and make fun of it and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's the big thing for me. I don't know. I can't really say. I'm not the right person to say it's overexposed. So yeah, thank you for those questions, Darth Venom. Next question comes from Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, if you were to compare the characters of MLP, Main 6, CMC, Princess, Shining Armor, etc., with Toho Kaiju, who would you compare them with and why? Wow, I don't know. I don't know, because the Kaiju have their personalities are, we're going to smash cities and smash other people. And the CMC are all about love and friendship. The only ones I can see are like Mothra and Celestia. That's the only ones I can really think of. With Discord, maybe King Ghidorah. I don't know. It's one. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything. Really, I can't. I'm sorry. It's like almost 2 in the morning as I'm doing this Q&A. My brain is fried. Cut me some slack, please. So, thank you for that question. Your second question is, Destroya Space Godzilla versus Tyrek and King Sombra. Who wins? Tag team match. Destroying Space Godzilla. Let's face it, we've got the monster that was pretty much responsible for the death of Godzilla, and Space Godzilla, who nearly killed Godzilla, versus Tyrek and Sombra, who in their own right are powerful, but they're literally fighting nearly godlike beings. Destroying Space Godzilla would be like, squish. And that would be the end of the fight, unfortunately. It'd be cool to see them fight, but here's the thing, Destroying Space Godzilla have a major size advantage and power advantage. I mean, Destroya destroys oxygen. Space Godzilla can create a giant fortress of crystals. So yeah, the odds are not looking well in Tyrek and Sombra's favor. The third question is, if you had a chance to make an all-new antagonist for MLP, what would his or her name be, and what species, what would wreck the heroes and other villains? I kind of already answered this question of talking about the Goblin King. I already did this question involving talking about the Goblin King, the whole rising up and try to rally a goblin army to take back Equestria, stuff like that. So I already answered that question. So think of those questions, Matt Kaiser 08, and I do apologize for if I completely butchered those questions, because those were really tough. Like, I don't know if I could compare the ponies with the giant monsters. I don't know. Again, it's almost 1 in the morning, so cut me some slack. Next question comes from Dragon Epic 94, who asks, how do you think they should recreate Grogar in Season 5, and if they bring him to the show? I'm going to answer this on the ground of, the last person that asked this was asking, would I be excited for Grogar? Answer was yes. This is someone asking me, how would I recreate, how should they recreate Grogar? So it involves Grogar, but they're different. Like, one asking if I would be excited for it, the other one asking how I would, how they should be brung in. I know I kind of talked about the whole hatred for, I mean not hatred, but I'm getting tired of, past from 1,000 years ago, all these great major threats come together and, they're coming back to all this. But I think it works better for Grogar, because for those who remember the original story for Grogar is that his kingdom, Tambalon, comes back every 500 years. So I would say that Tambalon has come back after 500 years, and he was responsible for the destruction of the Alicorns. And when I say Alicorns, I mean like the last true Alicorns like Celestia and Luna. He was responsible for the extinction of them. Every 500 years he shows back up. His magic is so powerful that he can, the Alicorns, preferably Celestia and Luna's father and mother, banished him and his entire kingdom to a pocket universe or something, but his magic is so powerful, he can come back every 500 years. He can generate enough magic to punch a hole back into Equestria's reality, and it was usually up to Celestia and Luna to fight him back, and then when Luna went nuts, it was up to Celestia. So I'd have this would be more of a centric story to Celestia and Luna, because it's the monster that pretty much made them an endangered species. And I would have Grogar voiced by, if he was still alive, because I think he would be he's a great villain voice, but unfortunately he passed away a few years ago. But I think he would be a great Grogar. Tony J, who most of you guys would know him best for Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think he would have been a great Grogar. But my second pick is obviously one voice actor who's a great villain and voice actor in his own right, and voices multiple characters, is Frank Welker. He actually did voice Grogar's his little henchman Bray, the donkey. So I'd actually have him voice Grogar and give him his Megatron, and give Grogar his Transformer Prime Megatron voice. So yeah, but Tony J, if he were still alive, I would have said Tony J for Grogar. But yeah, that's the story I would have in mind for Grogar. I'd also make him very big for a goat, and every time he rings his bell, he can summon dark spirits and stuff. So thank you for that question, Dragon Epic. The second question is, do you think we will visit the main 6 parents or possibly find Spike's real parents? Ooh, okay. We've already seen, we're not going to see Applejack's parents, because according to Lauren Faust, Applejack's parents are dead. Yeah. And Megan McCarthy's keeping that whole, but not saying it outright that they're dead. In Apple Family Reunion, you see those 2 stars streak across the sky. That's supposed to be Applejack's mom and dad. I didn't even know that till 3 weeks later when they were doing a podcast interview with Lauren Faust and Megan McCarthy. I didn't know that till then. Oh, really? We've seen Twilight's parents. We've seen the ones. I think it would be cool if they said Fluttershy was adopted. Fluttershy, after she was separate, she was an orphan, and a group of griffins. I would actually have griffins that adopted her. I actually have it that griffins adopted her, raised her, and or Scootaloo. Yeah, Scootaloo's parents would probably the whole griffin thing would actually work better with Scootaloo, because I thought about Scootaloo would, they might write her that she was adopted. And I think it would be cool if it was griffins, because griffins are great flyers. They have these strong, powerful wings, and Scootaloo's, and I would have it that her adopted parents wanted her to live in Ponyville to be among her own kind. But they do keep watch over her, and they couldn't leave her in the Griffin Kingdom because most Griffins are like, yeah, ponies, eat them or kill them. They're below us. So yeah, but also the whole Fluttershy being adopted thing I think could work too. I'd like to see also Rainbow Dash's parents. We saw a glimpse of what I assume is her father in one of the episodes in a flashback. So yeah, I think it would be cool. And like I said earlier, Spike's mother at least. So yeah, I think it would be cool. Dragon Epic. Your third question is, how do you think they should bring a story arc in the show from IDW comic books? So basically what he's asking, guys, is that should they bring in do an adaptation of one of the IDW stories from the comics and put it on TV show? And that's been done before with a lot of comic book TV shows where you had story arcs from X-Men put in the 90s cartoons and, Wolverine the X-Men. Also, you saw this in, like, Spider-Man. You saw this in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. You saw this in a lot of things. So, would it be possible to do that with already a TV show and adapt a comic book story from a TV show and do it with the same thing? I think what Hasbro wants to do is have the comic books have their own separate continuity in between story arcs. I think that's what they want to do. But if I was to say, pick one, definitely the Nightmare Rarity story. That was so cool. That was such a great story. I think it's still my favorite. The Nightmare Rarity story is my favorite. They could also do the Revenge of Cream Chrysalis. I think Chrysalis needs a comeback, so what better way than to do an adaptation of that story? Thank you for those questions, Dragon Epic. And final questions come from King Nazaru, who asks, while I'm not an MLP fan, but I do have this question. What do you think of the MLP's main character's reaction if they were caught in the crossfire in a battle between Sin from Final Fantasy VII, Diedrich, Princess and Princess, Mafala, Azra, Malrag, basically a lot of Final Fantasy characters. Duck and cover. That's really all I can say. I've never played I've played Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VII, but I've never played all the Final Fantasy games. Not because I don't want to. It's because I don't have a PS4 anymore. I don't have a PlayStation anymore. I use Xbox now. So yeah. But like I said, duck and cover. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much my Q&A. Once again, like I said, if you had a Q&A, if you had a question or questions, I should say, that I missed, I do apologize in advance for. I do apologize for missing them. Oh, here's one. I missed one already. Here you go. Like I said, I completely missed this person's. Hang on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up right here. Dylan Malone 14, who asks, what do you think would happen if they decide to kill off one of the ponies? I don't think they'll do that because, obviously, it's still a kid show. But if they could, I think it would obviously have very big repercussions. That's pretty much... I think that it would definitely have... They would want to make it definitely have a lot of major repercussions in the story. Second question is, do you think that one of them can don the helmet of Fate from DC Comics? One of the main six. Twilight, it's no brainer. Twilight becoming Dr. Tony Fate. That's stupid. But yeah, wielding the power of Fate would be Twilight. Do you think demons with powers equal to Blackheart can work in MLP? Oh yeah. I mean, there were demons in that one shot with Rainbow Dash in the Micro series. So yeah, there could, and they kind of dance around that Tyric's a demon. He's a centaur type demon, but a demon nonetheless. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, now I think I think I have all the questions. So once again, I do apologize if you had a question and I missed it. That was YouTube being a dick, so I do apologize once again for it. And yeah, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. And I know I kind of powered through it, but it's almost 2 a.m., guys, for me out here. So yeah, it was... Yeah, I know I kind of rushed through it towards the end, and I am sorry for that. But like I said, I was kind of like, hey, I'll do this Q&A at night. I'm not doing anything important, like writing a chapter for one of my fan fictions. I can totally do this. I was so wrong. So yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A, and I'm out.